All right, this is the commercial structure fire at 9038 Sutton Place. Talking about the incident actions there. This was a defensive commercial structure fire, which makes it kind of unique because one, we don't go to a whole lot of commercial structure fires in general, nationally or locally. But then how many do we actually go on that we go defensive on is even fewer. So we're going to go through some of our actions here. This is the initial 911 call.
Westchester 911, where's your emergency?
Hello, I'd like to report a fire that's on 747 right behind a shop, Angan Suite.
What's the name of it? Where on 747? Do you have a cross street?
Right in front of me is, I believe this is Union Center. It's, I think that's Union.
Are you by Port Union?
Port Union and Port Union and 747.
Can you see what's on fire?
It's there's a building right behind AANGAN Suite.
It's ANGAN?
Alpha. I don't know what N is.
Oh, I think I have it here. Is it Suite?
Yes.
Okay, and it's something behind there? Is it a structure that's on fire?
Yeah, it's the structure.
It's the actual business at that address?
It's right next to it, or behind. It might be the back of the building, but yeah, it's on fire right now.
Okay, and do you know if anyone's in the building? We're going to dispatch the fire department out there, but can you see? Does it look like anybody's working?
It does look like there's a vehicle in front. I don't know if there's anyone still there, but I'm pulled up to the side of the road right now.
So naturally, some things that we consider is that we forget that 7Com's got a lot going on, especially when you have people calling in who aren't from the area, this isn't a residence where they have a clear address. So this is a guy driving from who knows where to wherever he goes and sees a building on fire, right? So we have to kind of deconflict that. To do so, here's two more 911 calls we've received on it.
Westchester 911, where's your emergency?
Hi, I'm on Place in Glendale, right by Angus Suite. I don't know the exact address currently. The building behind it is on fire.
Okay, so we did get a call about this. It is the building that's behind it?
Yes, the building behind Angus Suite.
Okay, can you see that building at all from where you are?
I can sort of see it. I can see the smoke coming off of it. We drove by. Yeah, we saw the fire coming and we turned around. It's really bad.
Okay.
So we get a really bad fire somewhere behind the building now. Still don't have an address.
Westchester 911, where's your emergency?
9048 Sutton Place.
What's going on there?
There is a building on fire.
Okay, is it the 9048? Because we have a report that it's a building just behind Angan Suites, the 906.
Oh, okay. Then it's probably not. I'm sorry.
Well, which are you right there on Sutton Place? Can you see what building it is?
Yeah, it's a white building with like blue accents to it.
Is it right behind the building that faces 747? Or is it the third one in?
No, it is the second one.
It is the second one. Okay, we are on the way. Everybody should be there very.
So we finally get an address assigned. Again, working to try to figure out what we have. So this was dispatched as a commercial structure fire. So we got our standard 5 and 3. So 5 engines, 3 ladders. We also got our 3 medic units and the IMAT team. Now, what ended up happening on this is we found out later that the IMAT was not paged. So the chief tones didn't go off, or something happened with 7Com where the chief tones did not activate. This is from the CAD itself, so you can actually go back and look up the CAD and CAD notes. So it's in the back, maybe in the business next door. gives us our unit rundown. There's flames coming from behind the business. So this was a all doubter or a no doubter all nighter, as I would like to say. Like you get dispatched this is going to be a working fire. This is the business itself. So Anjan Suites is the business that faces to the south side of Sutton, that faces 747. And then the business is actually 2 driveways down from Anjan Suites. So the 3rd driveway in is the actual business. Note that there's a business in between with a very narrow access. This is how we sectored it off. So Alpha faced Sutton, then Bravo, Charlie, Delta. Delta has this nice wide open parking lot. That's actually where the 3s and Tower 113 ended up. And then the Charlie side has 0 access. For anyone that was on scene, remember that there was also heavy snowfall from the area from the previous snowstorm a couple days before. This is looking at the Alpha side. This truck and trailer was not here, so this is Google Images. We don't have any body cam or anything like that from the scene. But this truck and trailer wasn't there. Behind this is a giant roll-up door. Note that we have utility poles that run along the Bravo side. These wires actually fell down in the incident. This is looking at the Alpha and the Delta side. So again, this nice wide open lot where we had 2 apparatus placed. Also note that Sutton Place has wires that run on the business side. So the fire side, if you will, had wires. And that's important to note because aerial access and vehicle access in this was perfect. You guys did an amazing job of getting these aerials off of Sutton Place. If we had just kept them on Sutton and kept the Alpha side, they wouldn't have been able to use their ladders because they'd have to go around and under all these wires, and that likely would not have happened. But by able to get them in and access, we were able to have master streams up pretty effectively. So this is kind of the rough general sketch of where apparatus were placed. So engine 73, the tower was out of service. 311 was out of service. So engine 73 was kind of nosed all the way into this drive with tower 113 behind it. Quinn 86 was able to duck in towards the Bravo side between Anjan Suites and this adjacent business. And because Quinn 86 has a lot longer ladder, it's about a 125-foot ladder, they were able to shoot over the business and actually hit a large body of fire here. They actually overshot and drowned a little bit of our crews as well. So that's kind of a thing to watch out for. You know, when you're doing aerial master streams, be very cognizant of where the water is aiming because of angles. Ladder 32 was able to duck in from Sutton from the opposite side from Ashley Place. And then you can see kind of how we had engines feeding aerials and then aerial staged on and other apparatus staged on 747. So we talk about critical fireground factors. Prior to 18 runs kicking off at the exact same time during this recording, we went around to all the stations and talked about critical fireground factors. So for Sutton Place, right, we're going to a commercial building. That's a tilt-up construction, so that's a factor. There's heavy fire involvement. Relatively low life hazard, given the time of day. This was about 1:32 or 2 o'clock in the morning. That being said, that doesn't mean that those buildings are not unoccupied. Lieutenant Hess brought up that a lot of businesses in District 3 are 24-hour operations. And even if it's just a skeleton crew, that's not uncommon to have people within the building. That being said, a lot of people will flee from fire. But understand that in some commercial structures in every single one of our districts, sometimes people live there, sometimes people stay there. So while Blue Card doesn't really talk about wanting to search commercial structures, we do. We still search commercial structures. We just do more targeted search. We search areas where people are likely to be or where we're told people might be. So that's kind of our critical fireground factors there. The reason that's so important is because when we identify our critical fireground factors, to also include the building itself, traffic conditions, weather, like all the cold was wealth stuff that a lot of us have had to go through over the years, that drives our risk management plan. So we will obviously risk a lot to save a lot, or we will risk a little in a calculated manner to make a save or make a push here, or we'll save nothing or risk nothing to save what's already lost. So our fireground factors will drive our risk management plan, which drives our strategy. We're either offensive or defensive, which drives our IAP, like what do we want to do to fix this? And that gets us into our SOPs. So again, our 8 basic categories for critical fireground factors are the building, the fire, the occupancy, the life hazard, The arrangement, resources, action, special circumstances. The building itself, what it's built out of, its construction type. So in this case, it was a tilt-up building. The fire, its location and extent. So we had a well-involved fire. The occupancy, so this was a commercial office building with a warehouse attached to it to do like construction stuff. So that matters. Like, what's in there? Are we dealing with fuels and oils and gasoline and stuff like that? Or are we dealing with paper and Class A products? In this case, it was a mix of like A and B. The life hazard, in this case, was relatively low. The arrangement, that's how the building is against other buildings. And again, looking at the map, you can see how close that Bravo exposure is. So there's real risk of extension to the Bravo exposure. Resources, we have plenty of resources coming because of our robust alarm assignment. And then special circumstances being the weather. So again, we can do some things with variable factors. We cannot fix the fixed factors. So we can't fix the building. The building is what it is. It was built years ago. We can't fix the occupancy. You know, we showed up and it was a construction site, so it's still a construction site. And we can't fix how close it is to other buildings. You know, it was constructed that way, and that's what it is. But we can make an effect on the fire. We can remove people from the building. In this case, the biggest life hazard was us. We can call additional resources or scale them back. We can take different actions, and then we can try and eliminate the special circumstances. But, you know, if it's super cold, we can get rehab set up and things like that. So our fixed factors for Sutton Place was a small commercial occupancy with flat roof construction. It's a construction office with close exposures on Bravo with tilt wall construction type. It's non-sprinklered, and there's no access to side Charlie. Our variable factors, on the other hand, we had defensive fire conditions on arrival, a low life hazard based on the initial intel. We have a delay in aerial ladders because all of ours were out of service. There's a risk of collapse because we're in a defensive tilt wall fire. It's a fuel limited fire, meaning it's already got its oxygen, it's already vented, so it's free burning. It's got plenty of oxygen. It's going to go out when it either has enough water put on it or if it runs out of fuel to burn. Adequate resources, and put a question mark, like, do we have enough? Or do we need more? How does that look for this fire? A large volume of fire, and it's also deep seated because we don't know what's burning. Because we can't make interior access, we cannot verify what this is. So unfortunately, everybody's on runs, but the initial size up was a working fire. Again, this was a no-doubter all-nighter. So engine 73 reported on scene with a working fire in a single-story commercial. We'll listen to some radio traffic here in a moment. They established a water supply and stretched a 2.5 for offensive fire attack to the Bravo man door. And they needed water and manpower to establish divisions to get a hold of this. So again, here's the radio recording, and we'll listen to some of this radio traffic.
Commercial fire alarm, correction, commercial structure fire, tank 70, engine 71, engine 72, engine 73, engine 74, ladder 75, medic 71, medic 73, medic 75, commercial structure fire, 9020 set place, 9020 set place across the Princeton Glendale Road, ESP 301, use fire ground 8 at 247.
274 north.
Clear out, just information officers just advised there is a train at the Rialto Road crossing.
Medic 73 route.
Clear out. Clear out.
Excellent. 5 route.
Clear out.
Engine 73 route.
Clear out.
Engine 71 route.
Clear out.
Engine 2 responded.
Engine 72 route.
Alright, so responding, I'm clear on park right here.
You're clear. Could be updated address 9026.
1 second, I'm trying to picture the audio here.
Place is going to be the building west of 9020. Appears to be the business name is Digital Integrated. There is smoke coming from the building according to the officer. MC.
Medic 75 in route.
Fair enough.
Alright, take it clear on wall.
Medic 74 telecom.
Fine.
Do you show us available?
I'm showing you available and your location is on Montgomery Road.
We're available in quarters. Take that from Medic 75.
Paramedic 75, you can disregard.
Tom, Chief 71, Chief 71's en route, clear on further on 80.
Chief 71, you're cleared on.
73 is on the scene, we have a working fire.
Engine 73, you're clear. Officers updated 9038 set place, 9038 set place.
Engine 73 is on the scene, a working fire, single-story commercial. We have a water supply directly across the street. Establishing command on fire ground. Stretching the line for the operations officer strategy. Engine 73, I'm at your hydrant. Let me know when you're ready.
Yeah, Chief.
We have District 86. I'm on the same level.
Medic 73, go ahead and send the water for the pirates. Copy, I'm sending it. District 86, I'm clear level 1. Understand, big, small. Big commercial. Search it out, hit the fire. Actually through the roof, we're gonna start with the 360, going, no signs that anybody's been here for a while. Okay, but we're gonna make this a, stay out.
So I know the audio is not great, but we started offensive, and Lieutenant Hess advised us like, "Hey, you know, I thought we could get after it," because again, he's trying to see what was burning. He got additional intel after his 360, which highlights the importance of getting at that 360. And so after he did his 360, he looked around and was like, "Hey, this is already through the roof. This is more than what we have here." And so he went ahead and switched tactics. And this is the key of this incident right here, is that we started with a plan, and then based on additional information coming in, we're able to readjust that plan, reset things, and switch strategies. And that is absolutely critical. There is nothing wrong with this incident and what Lieutenant Hess did. He thought that, hey, you know, maybe this is a piece of machinery on fire. Maybe we can hit this from the exterior and knock this down and be offensive. And then after he got around towards the Charlie side and kind of looked around, it's like, nope, we are going defensive. And again, that one action changed the course of this entire event for the better. It made things safer. It made things, you know, it's going to take a longer incident. But it's really important as fire officers to be okay with saying, nope, this one's a goner. We're going to lose this one, and let's protect our exposures. And I cannot give enough kudos to Lieutenant Hess for making that decision as a company officer, because that is going to change the entire outcome of this incident for the better. So well done.
If you come around, we'll make you, we'll call this Delta. We'll be Delta. Let me know your place. District 86, President. Engine 74 is with Engine 73, higher attack.
Okay.
Activities on scene. I'm going to start command. We're going to be operating as a defensive strategy.
Okay.
Tower 113, level 1 behind engine 71 on site. Tower 113, you're clear level 1. Your water supply, I need you to be on the outside. Set up a defensive operation. I need you on Alpha. Going to 86. On scene level 1. Go ahead and think that's clear. We're going to on scene level 1. Ladder 32 level 1. Ladder 32 clear level 1.
So obviously Chief Hanauer's not here today, but some other stuff to kind of talk about as we go through this radio traffic. The reason for the level 1, right? So we've switched strategies. We're now defensive, which means we can slow this way down, right? The fire's still out of control. The fire's still doing what it's doing, but we've gone ahead and said, let it, right? So Chief Hanauer starts kind of just keeping those units in level 1. That's fine, because as he's starting to get a handle on it and start to break this out into divisions, that's exactly what needs to happen. So there's no reason to hurry up in a defensive fire. Hold those units in level 1, because if they've already committed to all these things in water supplies, that's just going to jam up your scene. So what Chief Hanauer did here was excellent by just slowing things down, holding those units in level 1, and then putting them strategically where he wants them around the scene.
Come to the Delta side. Then you get in this parking lot here, we'll have you set up all different defensive operations.
Quite 86 clear on Delta, defensive operations. Static com, 671 on station.
I tell you what, we're level 1.
Stand clear, MG.
Battalion 110 is level 1. Battalion 110 clear level 1. You wanna come into the car with him, that'd be great.
You're going. 974 is one more than.
Chief 71 is level 1. That's for level 1, please repeat. Chief 71. 71, clear level 1.
Ladder 75 level 1.
Ladder 75, you're clear level 1. Ladder 32, when to bring your manpower forward, which will be on deck on the Delta side.
Ladder 32 is clear on deck Delta.
Man, from a time on 10, you're gonna be due here pretty quick. You got fire edging on a transformer momentarily on the alpha side. So, here's your case, man, I'm in place with the subject force. Please to be the Delta side. This is a picture clear, you'll be out, but engine 73 and engine 74 work together. You're good. Engine 71, I want to need you to line on the, whatever, between that and the exposure also. Man from. Yeah, we're gonna put our truck. Yeah, we're gonna put our truck into play. I'm gonna let a ladder get in here before we move up and pull a line off of ours though.
Thanks, really good.
Did you have a Duke electric respond out here? Could you give me another water source in off of 747? Get that shut down and get a hose stretched across.
Affirmative.
Alright, your current water source. Pacific Guard Command, we're also gonna need, we're probably gonna have 747 shut down. We're gonna 5-inch across this now.
Power, we're bringing water from one hydrant west on Sutton.
Lex, you know, think you repeat? Man from 71, does engine 74 have second water where they're at on the alpha side? You have the 74 operator on that. Alpha command. Just an update, back wall is separating from the building. We've got complete collapse inside. Being defensive throughout. Okay, you're clear on all things.
So by now, again, the incident's still escalating. We've got fire impinging on power lines. We've got the biggest issue now is water, right? We need enough water to put the fire out. So where do we get more water from? Well, we're going to pull from hydrants across 747. So that's a logistical challenge. We're going to shut down a major thoroughfare at 3 in the morning. And now we have, hey, the back wall is actually separating, right? So remember that in tilt wall construction, the steel that holds those together, whether that's the truss roof assembly or whether that's the kind of pin in place things that you might see in tilt up construction, those metal components, they heat up, and as they heat up, they expand, and as they expand, it's going to separate those walls. So they've already had interior collapse of the roof components into a certain segment of the building, and now there's a potential of it bowing out and collapsing down on the Charlie side. So collapse hazard being 1.5 times the building height is really, really important. So estimate the height of the building and be 1.5 times away from that.
72, level 1 on 747. 72, I need to secure a water source. Bring it forward. Engine 71 yourself, take a line off it. Try to find water to the outside. Engine 72 clear, water source on 747. We'll still need 747 to be shut down.
7 comes command.
Good.
Just be advised, we're gonna have 747 shut down via BD. Handle that traffic for us.
That's affirmative.
0.87 command. 0.80. Thank you, command.
Go ahead.
Engine 72 to 7 com, we need 747 northbound shut down. Information on who's bringing second water, we're set up on Alpha with our water supply.
747 is shut down. There's an officer at both ends.
72 clear.
Can you repeat that?
Alpha. 0.86. Alpha Bravo going there. We're gonna do from the water.
Okay, engine 72 is gonna bring second water from 747.
Secondary level 1.
All units be advised, I want to respect the cloud zone in this building. So if you're operating in that cloud zone, back up. Medic unit on 747, can you drop some cones along 747 our hose line?
That's clear. Man from 71.
Good.
We got a 2.5 operating. At the Bravo Charlie corner, we've got water supply coming up to us now.
Okay, you're clear. All units on the fire ground, just be advised, the alpha side is gonna be Sutton Road Command, or Sutton Road side. Command's gonna be operating on the Delta side.
Command from 71. If we can get some additional crews here on the Bravo Charlie to help open this up, get water in better.
So, now here's the issue, right? So, not any fault, right? This is just kind of our default aggressive mindset. So we want to get a crew up to open up the building so we can get more water in. Great idea. Problem with that is Chief Hanauer has just advised us to maintain and respect the collapse zone. So now we're starting to intermix, and this is why this is such a good AAR to talk about, defensive and offensive strategies, right? So is it necessary to open up that man door? Probably, right? Is it necessary to open up and get that stuff access so we can get water into the building? Probably. But we got to be really, really careful of that, right? So if we get everybody up close to the building and we're doing offensive tactics and defensive conditions, we're putting our guys at unnecessary risk. The biggest life hazard here is now us. Houston have recently had a fire within the last couple of years, and another one actually just a few months ago, where a firefighter was killed at a defensive fire in a collapse because of this exact thing, mixing strategies. So, yeah, it's counterintuitive to think like, hey, we really want to open up this building. We want to get up there and get the saws going and get these doors out of the way so we can flow water into it. Or we can just wait and wait and wait and wait. This is one where, yep, we're just going to be up all night. So just something to consider. Maybe not the best tactic with that. Just be really, really cautious when you start mixing tactics and strategy. That's what we're talking about here.
Okay, so let's stand by trying to open anything up. Command Chief 71, I'm gonna have you, I'll be operating on that Alpha side, on Sutton Road side. Let me know when you're in place.
Command Chief 71, clear on Alpha. Chief 71 is in place. Let me know what company they're at for performance.
All right, currently you're gonna have engine 71. You're gonna eventually have engine 72 and Quinn 86.
Engine 72 back step, charge the hydrant. Alpha clear, engine 71, engine 72, and give me the third.
Once Quinn 86 gets set up, you have them all.
Clear. 71, 72, 86.
So now we've effectively bracketed out this incident. We have a command aide with Battalion 110 on the Delta side with the incident commander. We have an Alpha established and a Bravo. So now the incident commander is effectively, even though we've got 9 or 10 trucks on scene, the incident commander's only got to talk to 3 people. And that's what the necessity of division supervisors are. Having division supervisors in place to, one, accountability, maintain the collapse zone. And that's why it's really important to do it not only on offensive fires, but definitely on defensive ones.
72 clear, charging the height.
Ladder 32, bring your manpower forward, and, I already got you on. Ladder 30, yeah, you're on deck, ladder 32, ladder 75, bring your manpower forward, you'll be on deck on the outside, on deck out.
75 is clear on deck outside.
Ladder 32, command. Go for ladder 32. You're on deck on the Delta side, is that correct?
That's correct.
Tower 113, we're ready with water on Alpha Delta. Quinn 86 to Alpha. Quinn 86 to Alpha.
Chief 71 from command, 26 is growing, trying to reach you. So you're, 26 is actually on the Bravo side. Okay, they'll be working for you. Okay, if you're good with it, I'm gonna assign Battalion 30 as Bravo and send them over to Quinn 86.
Central Fire Officer, the physical units of the north, we have capacity.
Battalion 30, 30.
Battalion 30.
Silver Column Command.
Okay.
The, business center had respond that or some kind of deal.
So can you order en route? I don't have a ETA or a vehicle yet.
Okay, you're clear, thank you.
Also, do advise 30 to 40 minutes.
You're clear, thank you. 86, lower your stream. Good. Command progress in place. Command, you're clear, probably.
Delta, it's Tower 113, your shower is on the bottom of your bucket. Okay, everybody, FYI. Delta to command, we have building collapse on the Charlie side.
Oh, you're clear. You're close. Charlie side.
7 times to set command.
Go ahead, your command.
Officer just let the key holder through. They should be arriving shortly.
So again, by this point, we've had that collapse, right? That was widening down the Bravo Charlie corner, like they said, and then it falls over, right? So if it's predictable, it's preventable. It's something that you'll hear around the fire service, and in this case, it's true.
72, command. 72, go ahead. Be advised, there's no access to gas or electric utilities to the building due to the collapse. Okay, you're clear on all things. Command from Alpha. Alpha, go. Let me know, if we're going to need any more additional resources, assisting you. At this time, I think you might want to consider, a fire investigation. Also, we're only got a being supplied by a single 2.5, and we only have 1 2.5 in operation. Okay, you're clear. Command, you can read Marshal 70 for me.
Yes, sir.
Command from Alpha. The building owner has just showed up in Alpha. Per the building owner, there's a construction company, no hazardous materials. You're clear on all that. Civic Officer Command.
Command, go ahead.
Go ahead and give me a second alarm.
You clear?
Civic, once you dispatch it out, you would just have the, level 2 stage on some port so.
You're clear.
Command from Alpha, Bravo, from command, go ahead and shut down your master stream. We're gonna evaluate what progress fires in. Alpha's clear, shutting down master stream.
Tower 113 with the roof report.
Good, Tower 113. Looks like the fire that originated in the Charlie Delta corner,
There's been taken care of. The fire's spreading laterally towards the Bravo side at the time, through the roof in the center of the building.
clear. All companies resume, defensive operations.
Delta to command.
Good.
Engine 73 is gonna redeploy their 2.5 to the, Charlie Delta corner. They've got a pretty good advantage for what's inside they can get from out here.
Clear, gonna redeploy the line to Charlie Delta corner.
86 to command. Was that resuming aerial operations?
That's affirmative. Go ahead and, turn your master street back on.
46, fine.
Alpha from command. Alpha Gas. You have engine 71's operator bring a blitz fire over, and give it to Tower 73's crew. Be advised, we just put engine 71's blitz fire in operation on Alpha. Clear, thank you. And, from Alpha, I'll send engine 72's blitz fire over. Perfect, thank you.
So we get another heads up decision of using blitz fires and unmanned monitors to maintain that collapse zone. So well done.
Medic 32 to command. We're level 1 stage.
Medic 32, you're clear. Level 1, okay.
Level 1 stage. 747.
Engine 212, you're clear. Level 1 stage. Go ahead and park your apparatus out of the way for your manpower forward. I'm gonna go ahead and make you, Brett, you can be, stationed on the Alpha Delta side. You'll be with medics.
You're clear. Real written on the Alpha Delta corner.
Engine 90's level 1. Engine 90, you're clear level 1. Go ahead and bring your manpower forward. I wanna have you on deck on the Delta side. Decide where the command post is located.
Clear on deck. Delta.
Level 1 speed. Engine 111, you're clear level 1 stage. Alpha from command, you guys need a, 5-inch large supply you're located. No, I think we're okay for right now. Break. Command from Alpha, Duke Electric is on scene. They're working on, the cutout for the transformer on Alpha. Okay, so Duke Electric's on the scene. You also advise, see if they're gonna need, or if they can, get a hold of Duke Gas. Yeah, my question exactly. They said they shouldn't be far behind them. They don't have an ETA. Okay, I'll come. Engine 111. Go ahead and bring your manpower forward. I'm gonna have you operate on the Alpha, on deck on the Alpha side, on deck Alpha. You'll be, working with, 4 Alpha. And Engine 90, you'll be working for Delta. 111 clear. Engine 90 level 1 stage. Alright, clear, level 1 stage.
9210 level 1.
Giant, 10, clear level 1.
Engine 96 level 1. 747 south side.
Engine 96, you're clear level 1.
Engine 40 level 1 stage behind engine 96.
Delta from Battalion 110, there's a handline on the ground right here as well. Engine 1 out. Next person on here, you repeat. Engine 109. You're clear, engine 109, level 1.
Engine 40 also level 1.
40 clear level 1. Command from Alpha. You're welcome. Electric has been disconnected at the pole. Everybody, electric disconnected at the pole. Also, you can have a crew take those two front windows, get wood fire set up in his office spaces. That'd be great. Copy, taking the windows out on the alpha side. Chief 77, com.
Chief 70 guy?
Can you advise who's backfilled at our station?
No one, as far as I know, has not been requested to backfill anyone.
Okay, you're clear. If you could call an additional engine, to stand by at headquarters and make calls from there for the rest of the town.
Okay?
Chief said, do we have any medicals available in town?
We have medic 75 available.
Command from Alpha. Perfect. You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, we've taken the windows out in the office area. We have no active fire in the office area at the time. All the fire is contained to the warehouse area. Cincinnati Fire, truck 2, the command. Cincinnati Fire, truck 2, go ahead. We are on scene, level 1 stage. You're clear on scene, level 1 stage. Engine 2 Cincinnati on scene. Last unit on the air, can you repeat? Engine 2 Cincinnati on scene. Engine 2 Cincinnati on scene. You're clear. Medic 2 Cincinnati on scene. Medic 2 Cincinnati on scene. Command from Alpha. Good off. Ladder 75 has now shut the gas off at the meter. All utilities to the building are DC. Clear, all utilities. Cincinnati Rescue 9 is on scene. Rescue 9 from command. Also, engine 2.
So we'll kill it there so you can hear like, my God, we got Cincinnati? Yeah. So we've requested an additional 5 and 3. So that's what our second alarm brings. It doubles our first alarm assignment. So we requested, based on the CAD, these units here. We got some of them, but this is what we actually got as well. So we received engine 111, 212, 96, 90, 40, 109, Coleraine, Cincinnati, and then an entire Cincinnati 1 alarm on top of that. So the reason for that is the CAD did exactly what it was supposed to do. It jumped to ladder 96. It appears that it jumped to ladder 96, and ladder 96 was unavailable. So that's what pulled ladder 25. Instead of calling engine 96, it should have been a ladder. So if you see, we have a bunch of engines, no aerials. When ladder 96 got skipped, it appears that Woodlawn went ahead and responded with their engine, which is, that happens. That's whatever. However, it jumped to the next ladder truck. So the next ladder truck up on the list, when we're going 6 aerials deep, was truck 2 out of Carthage in Cincinnati. Cincinnati elected to not only send truck 2, but engine 2, medic 2, district 3 chief, heavy rescue 9, and truck 32 out of Avondale. Why they send a 1 alarm? That's what they chose to do. It's not universal. It used to be universal, now it's not. But we got our additional 5 and 3, and basically an entire extra alarm assignment from Cincinnati. They were quickly returned. So quick highlights on the incident. Working fire on arrival. Initially offensive because, again, Lieutenant Hess thought we could get after it. And then when he got more intel, realized that it's not going to be the case and quickly transitioned appropriately to a defensive strategy. So well done. Did that strategic shift. They established safety corridors and divisions. So again, well done job of bracketing this out, sectoring it off, and establishing safety corridors. They called for personnel for the second alarm, again, because of also the cold and everything. Just additional manpower for additional water supplies, rehab personnel. Great work. They noticed the electrical hazard overhead. The potential for secondary collapse, which again did occur on the Charlie side. The logistics issues of closing down Princeton-Glendale Road, which was handled by police. And then, this fire comes in at 2 in the morning. By 6 a.m., we need to start thinking about how to switch personnel. So there was a whole personnel switch going on after we started demobilizing the incident. And then the logistics of backfill. So you heard Chief 70 get on scene. Chief Prince did a great job of ensuring that backfill. And I know when I run as an incident commander, I'm solely focused on the incident. But it's really nice to have that command aide or someone there looking at the strategic big picture of like, yeah, we have this building fire, but who's making runs in the rest of the township? So Chief 70 took that role and did a good job of ensuring that we got some backfill, that the area coverage was maintained. And then again, the extra full alarm from Cincinnati. Again, Chief Hanauer is not here to talk about it, unfortunately, but this is our offensive chart. We don't really have a defensive chart. So this is just the commercial chart that he's working off in the car, that we as command officers work off in the car, and basically allows you to check off and check box who's doing what and where.
Trevor, Hanauer is present. I'm here, Trevor.
Oh,
Hanauer's here. Chief Hanauer's in the building. I think
hey, Chief Hanauer's here. Great.
I'm here. Large and in charge.
Well, Jason, you want to talk about it real quick?
Big fire. Big fire. You want me to talk about the command chart or whatever? I mean.
Yeah. So overall, we're talking about the command chart. The offensive chart really doesn't work in this instance because we talked about how you did a good job of just level one in those companies and kind of getting a handle on it. Don't commit them to work because, hey, we've already shifted to defensive. So before we start jamming up the scene, let's slow this down, figure out where we need to put resources and water supplies because that's the big need here. And you did a very good job of that, in my opinion, right? So anything other incident highlights that you want to talk about that we didn't hit?
Again, I didn't hear the beginning of this, but I mean, as far as apparatus placement, all that kind of stuff, it's hats off to the crews that arrived. I mean, those guys did a hell of a job of getting a lot of people crammed into a pretty small area. I think it was, I can't remember now, but it was ladder 86 and then tower 113. Again, where they had them apparatus placed was perfect. Tower 113, I'm pretty sure Liberty's not on here, but again, those guys going the alternate route around instead of coming to where everybody else did and grabbing that I think it's probably the third water source. But just did a phenomenal job, that operator. And again, hats off to that. As far as that command chart is concerned, you're right. It doesn't play well with defensive operations. I kind of wish, in fact, when I used to do what you did, Trevor, I used to have the battalion chief take a picture of it at the end. I should have taken a picture of the command chart. It was kind of all over the place, but again, I think I had a pretty good handle on where everybody was at, what they were doing. Again, we only utilized, I don't know, I think every division probably had 2 companies working plus a backup crew. Yeah, and let's talk about the second alarm just a little bit, and I'll own this. You probably heard on the radio traffic and assignments being assigned. One thing I missed is assigning the initial rig crew. I did not do that, and I caught that fairly after everybody was kind of assigned, so I really didn't want to jump back and assign somebody already in assignment to red. So I already had all the resources on the first alarm exhausted, so we called the second alarm just to gather some more manpower for those operations. But I can't really remember what I wrote on my AAR form, but I think that's a big thing. I think that Trevor, I think that Jeremy did a hell of a job. He got a water supply, had a good size up. They had a 2.5 off the truck. I know initially it was like offensive, and then we quickly, obviously, switched to defensive operations. I believe every sector or division, if you want to call them, did a really good job of trying to keep people away from that collapse zone. Again, we've killed a couple firemen in the United States here recently in collapse, and there's no really reason for that. We did have some guys, migrate into that collapse zone every now and then, but I think overall, the guys did a really good job of kind of staying away from those areas. Because again, we did have a collapse of not only the roof, but also that backside of that building. So anyway, I take zero credit for apparatus placement, because even in an event like that, I mean, for everybody to set their air brakes and never move an apparatus, it was just a great job. So that's all to them.
Agreed. Mission creep is a real thing, right? I know I was guilty of it on the scene. I probably should have been more diligent with the collapse zones as well, coming in when I eventually got there. But it's something to consider, right? Like we don't really think about that too often because we don't go to these that often.
Yeah.
No excuse though, but you're absolutely right. So our incident actions here, engine 73 and 74 teamed up for fire attack along with ladder 32 in that division. Tower 113 was defensive operations with Delta. And you can kind of see based on the radio traffic kind of who did what and where. So overall, again, the apparatus placement was perfect, right? Allowing the ladders to have access, be away from wires and not blocking out areas. This was the appropriate strategy for the incident. Again, it's real easy to kind of stick to your guns. No, we can get after it. But Lieutenant Hess did an absolute bang-up job of saying, nope, we're going to call this one and protect the exposures. Our water supply was terrific. We had multiple water supplies and really nothing broke on them, which is crazy considering the temperatures that night with negative wind chills and everything else. Great use of the alternative water, right? You know, we are used to hand lines. We're not used to breaking hand lines down and putting blitz fires on, but that's exactly what we did in this, and that's exactly the appropriate thing to do. And then that second alarm called, I would say, relatively early. And the nice thing is you got a second and a third alarm with it. Great liaison with business owners and representatives. So you heard that the business rep was on scene. That business owner was able to give some really good information as far as what's in there, right? There's no hazmats. This is a construction office because we don't have that intel. We can't pull up a pre-plan for this one. It didn't exist. And even if it did exist, it's going to show the building, not the occupancy. So that business rep was really, really great. And then to also talk about, hey, what do you want done here? And that business rep worked through our command process, and they were actually brought into the fold to kind of have a say and a seat at the table with how we're handling their incident. And that's something that a professional fire department like us does very, very well. That is not the norm across the United States. It should be, but it's just not. We identified the critical exposure protection between the Bravo exposure specifically, clear delineation of command areas, and designated that level 2 staging on 747 for the incoming crews. And then again, the backfill from Chief 70 while Chief Hanauer is running this incident and focused solely on it as he should be, right? Having that backup and that assistance to maintain strategic picture for township coverage was huge. So the big thing, maintain those collapse zones, restrict entry more aggressively. And again, I'll eat that one because I was an offender of it. But also like, hey, like this is a safety thing, right? We should absolutely restrict entry more aggressively. We called it on the radio. We identified it. But, you know, when you're bored and you're cold and you're standing still, sometimes mission creeps easy, especially for those of us that are type A and a little ADHD. Consider the rehab of crews a little bit more due to cold weather. That's part of the reason for the second alarm, but you know, you can rotate people through a medic unit, especially when they're just standing there, right? With blitz fires are running, do you really need to stand there with it, right? Rotate people into the cabs of trucks. Consider like getting people warmed in some better work rest cycles. There was talk about salt trucks or way to distribute the water for runoff. There was really no way to get a salt truck in there just because of the placement of trucks. But salt trucks were talked about and bringing them in. I know guys, especially firefighter Durger, was throwing salt like a maniac because of the slippery surface of where they were positioned. And then we talked about the chief tones are set off for fires. So the reason I got notified for this is because a Battalion 71 run went off. And I went on that, and then I saw, oh, that's because everyone's at a commercial building fire. So pretty cool time. From Chief Hannafin, I'm not sure if he's still on. Again, we had a boatload of runs during this, so if he's on. Nope. So Chief 72, Chief Hannafin looked at this. Again, kind of backs up everything that we've been talking about. Defensive fires are slower pace, and make sure we're protecting those exposures as we did, right? Talk about resisting going back in the building because unfortunately we've had firefighters killed at these defensive operations, which should be, in theory, some of the safest things we do. And then followed up with 7-comm to reiterate the use of the correct tones. So this is a well-run incident with something out of our norm. You guys knocked it out of the park. It's unlikely to have this in Westchester, right? We have advanced alarm systems in these types of buildings. people are working in these types of buildings. When a fire is detected, it's reported fast. We get water on the fire fast. So it's very, very unlikely for us to have this. And as I said in the beginning, I struggle to remember a single one I've ever been on besides this one. A trained plan and a good ICS works. So be able to follow the playbook, deviate as necessary and when appropriate. But in this case, we really kind of just marched down the algorithm and it worked. The ability to integrate the playbook with a good incident command system with the division supervisors in place, holding crews in level 1 and getting a handle on it worked amazing. And at the end of the day, sometimes we have long and cold nights, which nothing to do except dump water and wait. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Does anybody have anything they want to add to this? All right. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. See ya.